Okay, it looks like we are about 4 minutes late. 4 minutes late. Apologize for that. 4:30 is always an optimistic start time, but this is a special broadcast. This was just scheduled about an hour ago at the most. And welcome. And I just had to restart. Oh, wait. I thought I restarted. Oh, for crying out loud. I didn't restart my computer. My computer is acting up, so I got to do a force quit on Chrome. Chrome is not responding, so I'm going to force quit that. Just give me a moment here, folks. Technical difficulties on my computer. I should restart this from time to time. It's been a coon's age since I've restarted the computer. I'm going to definitely restart it after this. And ignore that and restore. Oh, good. Okay, at least it's able to restore the tabs. So we should be ready to go here. Oh, let me pull up the show on my trusty iPad to just make sure that we're even broadcasting, to make sure that this is even working. And it looks like Carlos is in the house. And Carlos is in the house. Joey's in the house, Cheetown, California. And we've got some members of the Wrench Gang in. We've got reinforcements. And let me pull up a picture of the Calatrava just to make sure that I have that in a, I think I already do. And it's loading in now on this. I already had it from a previous discussion with the aforementioned Carlos. Carlos, the classy gentleman Carlos. There's the 5196J stunner that is going to be part of the topic of discussion. And T-Con in the house. I love your show, but SBGX061 that you looked up on eBay 2 days ago sold because you brought it up and showed everyone viewing your show. Watch. I guess 1180 per. Well, I don't think I'll take credit for that selling. I think that they sell pretty regularly on there. I mean, if you go on eBay, there's a whole bunch of similar watches, if not the same watch, that sell fairly often. So I'm not sure that I can take credit for that. So there you go. All right, so I have news. I have breaking news. This is a special broadcast. This was not planned. And I got a call from Steve, from the Stevester. And let me pull up the watch in question, if I can find it here. Okay, so this is on the Grand Seiko website. This is the topic of discussion. This is the SBGY002. And then the photo that I used, let's see if I can find it. Oh, it wasn't this one from a blog to watch. It was a different one. A different photo that I used. But I did put the link in the description to the other article. I think it was... Well, I'm not going to say because I'm not 100% sure which one it was. But anyway, I put a link in the description of this video. There are a bunch of pictures like this online that you can take a look at, and that is a much better photograph than the one on the official website, which is more like a drawing. I don't know why Grand Seiko does this, right? They can't get a legit photograph. But there's a decent photograph of the watch. And let me see if there's anything else here that shows off the watch. We've discussed this watch several times. There's the platinum version. There's the stainless steel. Well, now that's platinum too, I think. There's the steel version, which is a limited edition watch. And there's another look at the gold stunner, the 18 karat yellow gold stunner. So we've talked about this watch before, and we even showed the video of... Here, let me see if this is it. Is this it? Give me a second here. Okay, yeah.
1999 manual wind spring drive
Here's
caliber.
Tim talking
This
about
is the
it.
Grand Seiko Elegance Collection spring drive hand wound, part of a collection informally dubbed the Thin Dress series.
See how
So
thin
this
that is? I see the
20th
nice shape
anniversary
of that
watch
case.
is
Okay.
graceful
So let
in
me
yellow
pause
gold at
this.
38.5.
So I think we know the watch that we're talking about, and let's see what Joey has. Let me catch up on the comments real quick. Let's see. I'm learning something now. It's not a good idea to eat jalapeno with your hands and going to the bathroom afterwards. Next time I will I may think I may wash my hands before. Yeah, okay. We've had too much information there, Carlos. Why don't you get a present instead? We'll talk about that. Very good point. So I'm getting a present day date for sure, but money and time frame before 6 years. 6 years, okay. Let's see. Okay, so we'll talk about the present. We'll talk about the day date. Excuse me. I mean, obviously, I wore them for 40 years, so we can talk about those, absolutely. So, so here's what happened, okay? First of all, my ability to do this show, and what's that jacket drifting over that way? I think it's because of the way I'm sitting. Anyway, bothers me. The reason that I was able to do this show today, there was a perfect storm. Number one, my barber's closed on Wednesday, and I need a haircut in the worst way, as you can see. So I couldn't do that. So there was a nice day. I went for a nice long walk. And I put some black beans on to cook, and they're not going to be ready until about 6:30 p.m., okay? And then I got a call from the Stevester, from Steve at Little Treasury Jewelers. Got a call from the Stevester. And he has gotten word from Grand Seiko that he will have 2 of these SBGY. Let me pull it up again on the screen here so you can see. Bum, 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 bum. He's going to have 2 of these SBGY002 stunners, 18 karat gold, Grand Seiko stunners, spring drive stunner with manual wind. He is going to have 2 of them in stock the end of this month. The end of this month. He wasn't real specific that it's going to be absolutely the last day of the month or the last week of the month, but the way he put it to me was the end of this month. Now, of course, a lot of things can happen between now and then. They could get delayed, whatever. But Grand Seiko said they're specifically making these 2 for him at his request. There aren't, as far as we know, there aren't any in the United States at this time. And so he said that he's going to set one aside with my name on it for first right of refusal for me. So when he gets it, when he actually has it in his paws or gets confirmation of a delivery day, an absolute confirmation, then I'm going to head over to his place and take a look. And the last 2 times I've done that, I've left with a watch. So we'll see what happens this time. What are your thoughts on the SBGY003? Well, let's pull it up. And we've talked about this watch before, but I want to pull it up on the screen here. And there is the stunner. Now, the problem with the 003 is it's a limited edition. I think there was one on eBay recently. Steve can't get any more. And if he does get one, I mean, he's got a list of people that want it. So that's the downside there. And the other thing about it is I really have no interest in a stainless steel dress watch. If I'm going to buy a dedicated dress watch, it's going to be 18 karat yellow gold, not rose gold, not white gold, and not platinum, 18 karat yellow freaking gold, which is what a dress watch, in my opinion, should be. Always was the case, always is the case. Buying, I know Carlos wanted to fly under the radar a little bit, so he bought the white gold day-date, but my way of thinking, if I'm going to get white gold, I'm just going to get steel. I mean, it doesn't look that much different. It really doesn't. So I'm not going to pay a ton of money to buy something in gold that doesn't look like gold. That's just me. And same thing with platinum. I mean, why bother? Okay. First of all, it's heavier. Like if you bought a platinum day-date, it's heavier, which does not necessarily mean it's more comfortable on wrist. In my estimation, that makes it less comfortable. So, yeah, I think yellow, 18 karat yellow gold is the way to go. Let's see here. Let me just catch up real quick on this. Can you tell me about the Grand Seiko Quartz GMT SBGY002 It's really new. SBGY002. Let's take a look. Is this the one that Steve showed? Is this the one that Steve showed the other day on his show? I think so. I think he has one in stock. Yeah. I think he has this watch in stock. I think he has it. I think he showed this watch. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen one in person, but I think it's a cool watch. I mean, take a look. Go back to where he showed them. It's a 40 mil, 12.2 thick. It's a little bit bigger than this watch. This is 38.5 mil. Yeah, I think it's a cool piece. Now, as far as I know, it does not have a screw down crown. This does. The 005 does. So, yeah, so there's that. Personally, and this is what I mean, you know, not just because I bought it, but personally, I like the 005. I like the crown guards on it. I like the screw down crown. It's a little more of an all-arounder, right? It's just as thin. Well, actually, yeah, this is 12. Yeah, this is 12.2, and I think that one said it was 12.2. Let me see. Yeah, 12.2 mils. Yeah. So, yeah, they're both just as thin, and this one's a little bit smaller, 38.5 mil, which I like. So, yeah, I would go with this model that I have on my wrist. Let's see here. T-Con in the house. My friend just got his Sea Dweller back from the Rolex Service Center. They gave him an estimate prior to opening it up, repaired the watch, and charged the same amount when he got it back. Absolutely. That's the way it works. SBGY013 versus SBGY005. Yeah, I would get the 005. Absolutely. That's what I have on my wrist. Let's see here. Okay, so Kyle says hi. Okay, so let's get back to the situation with the 002 Stunner. So here's my thought process on the question earlier about getting a day-date. Is the you know, I wore the day-date for decades, different ones. The last one I had for like 19 years before I sold it. I bought it new. The day-date is a great watch for everyday use, wearing, if you wear it a lot, because it takes wrist time to keep that puppy going. And I got to the point where I was rotating my day-date with a sport watch, usually a GMT 2. And it got to the point where I wasn't really wearing the day-date enough to keep it running, and it would stop, and then I'd have to reset it and stuff, and it just got irritating. And it just got to the point where I just wasn't wearing it that often. And so my thought process now is, if I have the heavy duty sport watch for all around heavy duty use in the summertime when I'm wearing shorts or I have my sleeves rolled up or whatever, that can always be on my wrist. And I sleep in it, I wear it all the time, pretty much. Then when I'm going out and I'm wearing a suit, I need something trimmer, need something that go underneath these tight cuffs, and this watch will do it. But this is not an 18-karat yellow gold stunner. Let's face it. Okay, it's just not. So that's where the 002 comes in. Let me pull it up again. Now the 002, because it is a manual wind and it does not have a screw down crown and it's a 3-hand watch, it'll be very quick and easy to just wind that, set the time, and go. Whereas with the date, you have to unscrew the crown, you have to make sure the day and the date are right. It's just a little more of a hassle, okay, if the watch is not running. And this watch that you're seeing on the screen right now is just a pure, straight-up dress watch, not an all-arounder, like the Date 8 is more of an all-arounder, right? And this is even thinner and trimmer than the Date 8. And I think more appropriate for a dress watch. And I love the spring drive. I love that silky move of the spring drive second hand. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just absolutely stunning. So I think, now again, I won't make a final decision until I actually look at the 002 in person, see, touch, and feel it, and try it on and everything. But I think the watch you're seeing on the screen right now, the titanium dive stunner, in combo with an all-around GMT master stunner and an 18-karat gold dress watch stunner, that could be the perfect watch combo meal deal, as the pontiff would say. So there's that. There's that. There's the thought process, folks. And later on, we'll compare this to the Calatrava, which is a definite option, a definite competitive option, as Nut and Fancy would say. I think he would say competitive option. So, so there you go. Craig, what is your take on Horology House situation? We spoke briefly about that, and I guess, I don't know if it's my old age or whatever, but I prefer buying at this point from an AD. I just do. And I like dealing with Steve, and I really, I guess you've gotten the message, I really like the Grand Seikos and what they're doing these days. So, and if I was going to buy a Rolex, I think I would just buy from my local AD. And the models that I like that they sell aren't as hard to get. I don't like anything with a super case, and those are, and I don't like the Daytona. So, generally speaking, the Rolex that I would buy are generally available. Like, for example, an Oyster Perpetual, like, for example, a Datejust, even a Yachtmaster, they're a little bit more available. So a lot of the watches that I like that Rolex currently sells, Date 8, for example, you can go into an AD and buy. And so that is really the way I prefer to buy. I want my name on the papers and everything, and I just don't want to take the risk. I just don't want to go through the hassle, and sure, you're going to save a little bit of money, but you know, I'm not trying to save money. If I'm buying the watch that I really want, yes, I'm going to try to get as good a deal as I can from the AD, and I'm sure Steve will give me a good deal if I decide to buy the 002. I haven't decided yet, by the way, that I'm going to buy it, but if I see, touch, and feel it and I like it, I'm sure he'll give me a decent deal, and I'm going to be a happy camper if I buy it. So I wouldn't buy it if I wasn't going to be happy with it, let me tell you. Carlos, in my opinion, that gold stunner is between the Date 8 and the 5196. Maybe the Calatrava is more delicate and more for special occasions. I think the Calatrava would hold up fine. I think it's pretty robust piece. I think I think a spring drive does have a slight edge on a normal mechanical movement just because it doesn't have the escapement mechanism, right? And it's obviously going to be more accurate for sure. But I think I think they would both hold up pretty good. They're both straight up dress watches. Carlos, here's my thought process on let's bring up the 5196 here one more time. 5196 Stunner. Here's my thought process on this. I'm not a huge fan of the small seconds hand. I like the full-size second hand that the 002 has. And let's do this. Let's pull these next to each other, these tabs, so that I can tab right back and forth. Okay, so you notice this one has the full-size second hand. Okay, and Patek has the small seconds hand. The 002 is a little bit bigger, but they're close enough that I think on a size thing, I think that's not a big deal. When you're looking down on the Calatrava case, see how those lugs look nicely curved and look beautifully shaped and so on? The view from the side, see if there's a side view on this. Yeah, here we go. Will that enlarge? I want to see the side view enlarged. Okay, here we go. That's a perfect view. All right, now, see, this is where I think the Grand Seiko has the edge. When you're looking from the side view on the Calatrava, I don't really like the shape of those lugs. I don't like the way they're kind of squared off-ish, and, the side is kind of flat. I like the more curved, flowing look of the Grand Seiko case. And let's just go back here. And it's kind of hard to tell, but let's see if there's another one that shows the side a little bit better. It's all kind of our top-down views. I'm not really going to see it, but it is more rounded on the sides. There's a little more flow, but they're both gorgeous. I mean, that's kind of nitpicking a little bit. So, and I think the Calatrava is actually a little bit thinner, but the 002 is thin enough at about 10.2 millimeters. You don't really need it any thinner than that. And then, of course, you've got the display back on the 002, which I can take or leave. On the Calatrava, you've got the gold back. I don't think that opens to see I think that tab is just to open it for servicing. I don't think it's something that you would do to just view the movement, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they're both gorgeous pieces, and I will have to see how the deployant clasp works, how well it works, and how I know it's going to sit a little higher than a normal clasp like the Calatrava has, but the convenience of the deployant clasp, I think I'm going to like. I think I'm going to like that, and I think they're kind of cool looking. So that's going to be a function standpoint of how well it functions. So I think they're both very elegant, very nice dress watches. I do like the looks a little bit better of the Grand Seiko. I like the spring drive. I like the deployant clasp. But, I mean, they're so close. Either one would be a fantastic dress watch. Craig, what do you think of the Rolex Cellini? Yeah, see, here's the thing on the Cellinis. We never really liked the Cellinis much, just like we never really liked the Daytona back in the day, right? Nobody ever bought them. Nobody cared. Yeah, I just... There are a lot of Cellinis that are gorgeous watches. There are some 18 karat gold Omegas that are gorgeous watches. I just don't think... I think that if I want to buy an 18 karat gold dress watch, I think it would be between the Calatrava right there and the 002 Stunner. I think those are the two that I would absolutely consider. And I don't see a need to look at anything else, to tell you the truth. See, I approach this from a different standpoint than most quote watch people, right? I don't even really think of myself as a watch person. Yes, I like to wear nice watches, but I mean, it's not my, yeah, I'm not a collector, I'll put it that way. I just buy the watches to wear them. So once I narrow it down to the watch I really want, I really don't care that much about the others that I don't want. There's so many that I don't want. There's only, you know, I narrow it down to like one that I want, right? And that like eliminates all the others. It's sort of like a girlfriend. Once I narrow it down to the one girl, I'm good to go, and I don't look at the others. So yeah. And if you do look at the others, you get in big trouble. So our Wags is in the house. Let's see here. Your instincts are pretty good. Listen to your mind and heart. Also, the money being spent for the watch is an important factor, in my opinion. There you go. Calatrava is right then around 7.5 mils. Yes, it is then. Just looks more dated to me with that 70s style cushion case. Calatrava tack is timeless. I like the shape of the, I mean, is it exactly perfect what I would design? I mean, I would like it to be a little more of kind of the shape of like a oyster case, or, you know, it's a little bit bulbous in the, you know, the way the lugs are shaped, a little bit bulbous looking. But again, I'm going to have to see it in person to really make a final decision. But again, I don't think the Calatrava case is perfect either. I mean, very few cases are. I've really liked the case on the other Grand Seiko 18 karat gold Grand Seiko I had. It had a beautiful case on it. The shape of that case was gorgeous. So I'll have to see this in person, and really I'll know more then. Let's see here. But to me, something that's dated, if it looks good, that's fine. Like this suit is very, very dated, right? I mean, this is a very classic style. This is a Brooks Brothers suit. I mean, you know, this would be in style 20 years ago. It'll probably be, you know, the same 20 years from now, right? I mean, it's not really in style, if you will. It's just kind of a timeless look, just like this tie. I mean, and this shirt. I mean, I think you can wear any of this stuff anytime, and it's going to look fine. And it's certainly not the latest style. So, yeah. Not much that I have is the latest style, or ever has been the latest style. Let's see. Yes, only deployant clasp for Calatrava are around 3,500, and you need different strap too, okay? I still go with the Day-Date over both, Caljet. I like bracelets instead of straps. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're wearing it a lot, if you're wearing it, you know, every day, a lot, absolutely buy the Day-Date. No, do not pass go, buy the Day-Date. But I wouldn't be wearing it that much. That's the problem. And that is the whole issue with that. That's why I sold mine. Simple as that. I just wasn't wearing it that much. And to me, if I'm not wearing a watch very often, it's got to go, unless it's really a specialty watch, like a dress watch. You know, if it's straight up a dress watch, and I know it's a dress watch, and I'm going to be wearing it more occasionally, then fine. See, I'm not wearing, I don't wear suits all the time like I used to. I used to wear them a lot more often. Now I still wear them, and I still go out to meetings, and I have to dress up and things like that. But a lot of the time, I'm dressed more casually. And so I wouldn't be wearing the Day-Date as often. I'd be wearing that puppy right there. And so the Day-Date would be sitting, and that's, again, why I ended up selling it. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's see. In my opinion, for your use, that is much more frequent than mine, GS might be better. Carlos. I'm looking forward to your opinion. Hopefully he will have one in stock when you come in April. And hopefully, Carlos, see if you can bring your Calatrava. If you could bring your Calatrava, I'd really love to compare them side by side. And that would really be helpful if you could bring yours. that would be great. Anyone have a good brand on mind for case back removal tool? I'm sure some people will definitely have some suggestions for you on that in the chat. Words of wisdom, Craig. What price are we talking about concerning the GS Stunner? The list price is $25,000 US dollars. I'm sure I'm going to get a good deal, but it's a pricey piece. It's actually priced higher than the Calatrava list price wise. So yeah, it's not an inexpensive piece. But the reason a lot of these things are getting so expensive is that the quantitative easing, all the money they're printing, the money doesn't buy anything anymore. The money's being devalued, right? So, so yeah, that's how that works. Also, how do you calibrate a quartz plus minus time per month? Well, I haven't had to calibrate any of mine. They've been very, very accurate. So, I mean, this one right here is like spot on, like within a second after like 4 months. The other one is 5 seconds fast after like 4 months. So yeah, they're both plenty accurate. But they do have an adjustment. They can be adjusted, as far as I know. I know the 9F can be. I think the spring drive can be too. Listening to your thoughts on the Day-Date, it would be my daily wear, and wondering if there's a GS Gold Stunner 9F quartz dress watch. Joey in the house. I had one. It was a 35.5 mils case size. Just search on my channel, Grand Seiko 18k, 18 karat for 18 karat gold, and you'll see it. I mean, it was a stunner. Let me pull up a picture. I sold it to a subscriber. Just give me a second here. I will find it. I hope I will find it. And they're reasonable. They're on eBay all the time. I had the SBGY038, which is the one with the, I guess you would call it a silver dial. Let me find the actual pictures of mine. These are actual pictures of mine. See what I mean about the shape of that case? Very flowing. There's the clasp. There's the back. There's the... Now, it was a gorgeous watch. There I am wearing it. So, and I've seen them with the gold dial for as little as $3,000. They usually sell for around $3,200 to $3,600, depending on the price, with the silver dial, with that particular dial. That's a hell of a nice watch for the money if that size is okay for you. And think about the original Calatravas were about that size. They were 34 mils. So I mean, it was actually pretty good on my wrist. I kind of like probably should have just kept that watch. The clasp didn't center well on my wrist, and that could have been corrected, I'm sure. But yeah, that was a great grab and go dress watch because it was always running and always accurate because it was a 9F. And it was 10 mils thick. Yeah, I wore it for several months, used it for several months. I mean, I didn't wear it all the time because, again, I don't wear a dress watch all the time. But I wore it, out and about and at meetings and things like that. It was a gorgeous piece. And for that kind of money, for the low 3,000s for an 18 karat gold dress watch, that's pretty good. So this is solid gold. Yes, 18 karat gold. Yes. All right, so what else? And again, that is a let me show you the model. That is a SBGX038 is the one I had. SBGX038. And I had it with the, I guess you would call that the silver dial. Really gorgeous. And it was in great shape. Great shape. It came all the way from Japan. I bought it on eBay. Let's see. Yeah, again, I don't see the need to go with the Lang & Son watch. I just don't. And I definitely don't want a Reverso. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not into the Reverso thing. I mean, and I don't like square watches, not for a dress watch, not for any watch. So again, I would definitely go with the Calatrava or the Grand Seiko Stunner for a dress piece. We'll go back to the Grand Seiko Stunner one more time there. There you go. So we shall see what we shall see. Tom, you love the accuracy of the GS compared to other brands. Well, yeah, I mean, the GS, the spring drive is just amazing. It is just an amazing movement. I mean, look at that second hand. I mean, are you kidding me? It's just freaking mesmerizing and so accurate and so rugged. And, you know, they'll go literally for decades without having to be serviced. They're just, as Archie Luxury said, they're just so far ahead of the Swiss. You know, the Grand Seiko movements are just so far ahead of the Swiss, it's not funny. Between the spring drive and the 9F, it's not even a close call. Even their high beat is superior to the Rolex movements, but I would rather have the spring drive or the 9F would be the ones that I think are the way to go. Let's see. Rare for Grand Seiko, they usually gold plate. That's really nice. Okay. I think some of the older Grand Seikos have there's like an outer case on top of the case that's kind of gold or something. I don't know exactly how they do that, but some of them are 18 karat gold. I don't know that I've seen any that are plated, but I'm not sure what you're talking about there. But I know some of them have the outer shell that goes over the top, and some of the King Seikos and stuff do that. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the older Grand Seikos and King Seikos and all those. You see them, and some of them are pretty cool, but to me, it just wouldn't be as practical as one of these newer ones, like this one right here. I mean, it's just a gorgeous, I mean, it's just stunning to look at. I do have my close-up camera. Like, get over here. By the way, somebody asked me about doing some shows, talking about some EDC items and some shoes and some other things. Always, anytime there's anything you guys want to talk about, the whole purpose of these live streams is the interaction with you all. And if there's something you want me to show you, or you want to talk about, or whatever, just ask, just speak up, and we'll talk about it. You know, if it's an EDC item, I'll show whatever I've got or whatever you want to see. I mean, if it's a shoe, I will talk about shoes. We'll talk about suits. We'll talk about shirts, ties, whatever the heck you want to talk about. Let's see here. Maybe it's not a bad idea to get another like the one you sold. Carlos in the house. Well, I'm going to have to see the 002 and see how much I really like it. Obviously, I'm not going to spend big money for a dress watch if I don't really, really like it. So, yeah, it's not a foregone conclusion that I'm going to buy the piece. I mean, I'm sure Steve will make a move. He'll try to sell it, right? You know, but I have to really like it. I have to look at it, see, touch, feel it, try it on. It has to be something I really like. And then I'll buy it. I mean, absolutely I'll buy it. If I really like it, A, and B, I can get a decent deal on it, I will absolutely buy it. Life is too short to not do that, I say. And here's the thing. I think when you dress nice and you're like, I'm going to an important meeting on Monday, right? And if I dress nice and I feel good about myself and so on, the odds of being successful at the meeting go up. The odds go up. It helps. Dress for success, folks. Dress for success. And just being clean shaven can help. You see all these millennials with the 2 or 3 day old stubble and all this stuff, and they think it's hip and it's cool and all that. It's not going to help you in the business deal, generally speaking. Not going to be a plus. And being full of tattoos and stuff and being dressed all sloppy and all that, and using foul language and all that kind of stuff, it's not necessarily going to help you in the business environment doing a deal. In most cases, it may not be a plus. So there you go. There's a little bit of quick advice for the millennials out there. Also, would be great to do a show about fragrances with fragrances. There you go. I would personally rather have a Datejust myself, Cheetown in the house. Datejust than what? What are we comparing it to? Datejust versus what? Craig, do you have a stockpile of food, water, and ammunition? I have. I've gone to Costco 2 weeks ago and about a week ago. Like every week I've gone and I have stocked up on some extra supplies of non-perishable items. I have a fairly significant stock. I always have, but I have even more now. And as far as ammunition and all that, I'd rather not talk about that on a public broadcast, but I'm prepared for just about any scenario, I'll put it that way. Also would be great to do a show. Okay, I already read that. 20 grand is a lot to spend on a Grand Seiko. I don't look at whether or not something is a Grand Seiko, is a Rolex, is a Patek Philippe. I look at the item and what it is. And like, for example, my titanium stunner, that was actually less money than a Submariner, about the same amount of money as you would spend to buy a high-end Omega diver watch or something like that. But I think it's a superior watch to either of those, right? I just think it's a better piece, and it certainly meets my needs and looks great on my wrist. And I've had it almost 2 years now, and I could not be happier with the purchase. So now, if that said Rolex on the dial, that would be fine too. I mean, as long as it'll do what it'll do. I'm not concerned with that, and I like Grand Seiko. I mean, I'm very pleased with. I wouldn't have bought 2 of them now if I wasn't very pleased with them. Well, I own 2. I've bought more than that, but I own 2 at this current time, and I wouldn't be buying them. Trust me, if I didn't like them. I mean, I can just as easily go to the Rolex AD and buy a Rolex. No problem. But I want to wear the best. I want the best on my wrist, and that, I'm telling you, that diver, it's not even a close call. I mean, it poops all over a Submariner. It just poops all over it for a whole lot of reasons, and we've done videos on that already. Let's see, Craig, recommend me a diver that's not obnoxious. It has to be rugged, mechanical, not Rolex. Well, I mean, you could get the Shogun, the Seiko Shogun. I think you can buy them used for around $500. That's a hell of a piece. Just Google Seiko Shogun. Yeah, is it SBGY002? I think is the model. But yeah, I had one for a couple of years. It's a fantastic piece, and you should be able to get one relatively reasonably. And they're a heck of a piece. Wouldn't 20K buy your Crador? I don't like the looks of the Crador as much as this one, and most of them are white gold or platinum. And again, I have no interest in a white gold or platinum dress watch. I want an 18 karat yellow gold dress watch. So yeah, and I think most of the decent Crators are more than 20 grand. Yeah, I think they would be more. Okay, so I would rather own a Datejust than a Calatrava G-Town. Well, if you're going to wear it every day, if it's a daily driver, you know, beat it around and go swimming with it and all that kind of stuff, absolutely. The Datejust is a great all-around piece, but not as a straight-up dress watch. It's more of an all-arounder. It can be used as a dress watch, but it's more of an all-arounder. And Carlos says, I agree if it's one or the other. Oh, of course. If you can only have one, absolutely. The Datejust is a great, like I say, great all-around piece. Submariner went up. It's going to be a roller coaster for the foreseeable future. Who knows? Who knows? It's a little bit scary. I've gone on the sidelines for the most part, keeping some powder dry. This is why I think investing in the shoe Jordan's is overinflated and is a bubble that will burst soon. Do you think it's a bad idea for me to invest shoe? Oh my God, somebody's investing in shoes? Are you kidding me? Hey, like I said, the fact that they're printing so many dollars and the dollars are getting so worthless, I mean, everybody's trying to put their money in anything but have it in dollars, you know, because they're just, trying to get anything that's real. I bought some more Bitcoin, to tell you the truth. That's what I bought. That's what I invested in. This is not investment advice, but I think Bitcoin is a good move for me, at least. Breitling has tons of dive watches under 3K on the secondary market. There you go. We'll be in Vegas checking out the Pateks. Blue. Oh, cool. Let us know what you see. I like the Omega Planet Ocean 39.5 mil for my next watch, especially if GX don't release a smaller size diver. Tom Austin in the house. Do you have to have a diver, Tom? Why not go for something like this? A GMT with a screw-down crown, nice and trim, bulletproof, reliable. There's that. If you want something just to beat around and wear all the time and for heavy use. Let's see. Yellow gold is the way to go. Gold is yellow, blue in the house. Yeah, I just don't get these people buying rose gold and white gold. And now I know Carlos had a use case. He wants to fly under the radar and so on. I get that. Okay, I get that. But otherwise, if you're going to buy a gold watch, buy something that looks like gold, yellow freaking gold, and wear it and enjoy it. So there you go. Because they look stunning. They look stunning. And it'll match my pin, right? It'll match that. It'll match my cufflinks. You see, if you buy everything, if everything's yellow gold, my money clip is yellow gold, everything will just match if you get yellow gold. So there you go. Craig, the gold GS may not hold its value so well. Is that a concern to you? No, I'm not buying it to sell it. I'm buying it to wear it. No, these watches are not investments, and I buy them to use. I'll put it this way. If I bought a watch and then had to sell it for some reason, that to me, that means I should have never bought the watch in the first place. It means I couldn't afford it in the first place if I had to then turn around and sell it to pay my light bill or something, right? So no, it's if I buy a luxury item, it's with extra money that I don't need, and it's a luxury purchase that I purchased to enjoy, and I didn't purchase it as a store of value or as an investment or anything like that. It's just a luxury item that I bought to enjoy. So no, the value retention is not an issue. And those that think that watches retain their value have been sold a bill of goods, because they don't. They're not good investments at all. None of them are. And the fact that a few people here and there have gotten lucky with a watch here and there and not been totally burned on it, it does not make them a good investment. It makes that an outlier. Let's see. There's lots of uncertainty at the moment. Okay, there you go. Craig, any natural remedies you recommend for chronic sinus congestion? Whoa. Wow. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if eating habits can have an effect on that or not. I think the only things you can really control easily are what you eat. So eat quality, nutritious food items, getting plenty of rest, being in a decent environment where you are, and exercising. I think those are the things you can kind of control, right? So, yeah, I'd start there and then go from there. There's always and certainly nothing new. Blue in the house. A diver will complete my SCA sea, land, and air theme. I have the GMT already and an Explorer. Tom Austin in the house. Okay. All right, so I'd wait for a smaller diver to come out if that's really what you want. I'd wait and see if they come out with a smaller diver. They probably will. But I would be happy with what I have, Tom. I think you've got a good mix in the GMT and an Explorer. My gosh, that's a good combo right there. 18 karat yellow gold, so beautiful. Blue in the house. That sounds like a great collection. Absolutely. Yeah, let's take one more look at that 18 karat yellow gold stunner. Can't wait to see it in person, I'll tell you what. End of this month is what the Steve said. That's the breaking news, the end of this month. Let's see here. There's not always a virus creating a worldwide pandemic, though, Blue. Yeah, Tom in the house. There's always something. He's right, though, about that. There'll be something else. It's got all this stuff comes and goes, ebbs and flows. Glad my money is not in the stock market, okay? They will all serve a different purpose in the collection, okay? Flonase seems to work okay with sinus issues. There you go. Try saltwater nasal wrench. There you go. We're getting some advice here live in the chat. Tom Austin, I have a new Seamaster 300 meter. I think the Seamaster 300 is cool. The only thing I didn't like about those Seamasters is the skeletonized hands. I wish they had solid hands, but other than that, they're pretty cool watches. And I think I certainly would buy that over a super case Rolex. I don't like the super case, period. And there are rumors they're going to fix it this year, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, how all that works. If I am diving and I have congestion, I will pass salt water through my nose. It's disgusting, but let me dive. There you go. Solving the world's sinus problems take right. Yeah, there we go. That's what we got the chat for. Let me refresh this, by the way, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Just refresh, reload. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think I'm up to date. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Give me your advice. When I do get the call from the Stevester, and I have to travel over to Little Treasury Jewelers to take a look at the Grand Seiko Stunner, what would you check? What would you look for when you're examining the watch? What would you do? What would your mode of operations be? What would you do to follow the 5P principle? Proper planning prevents poor performance. What would you do if you got the call from the Stevester that the 002 Gold Stunner, that puppy there, was in stock and ready for a new owner? What would you do? How would you handle it? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. And then after that, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Let's see. Looking forward to that vid of the GS Gold Stunner. Blue in the house. Number one, comfort on wrist. You will know as you see it in real life. Carlos in the house. I would check if you really love the case shape. Tom, absolutely good idea. Very good idea. See, I've been waiting to get another gold dress watch because they didn't really have anything that I liked. The previous gold dress watches that they had were thicker. They were the automatic wind, and most of them had the power reserve on the front on the dial. See, this one has a nice clean dial. None of them that they've had the last 2 years. See, I've only really been into Grand Seikos the last 2 years, right? None of the the gold stunners that they've had have really been what I wanted. They've all been a little bit too thick. A lot of them were rose gold. This is the first one that they've come out with that when I saw it, I said, now that's interesting. Literally the first one. So that's how we've gotten to this point, folks. That's how we've gotten here. Okay, so Tom says, I would check if you really love the case shape. Oh, excuse me. Do a time check while I yawn. Oh, I shouldn't yawn on a live show, but that's how you can tell it's a live show, I guess. So let's see if I get any more tips here. What's your favorite dial color? I like a white dial. This is more like a white, almost like a snowflake color dial. I think it's hard to tell from the photography, but I think it's pretty white with a texture to it, sort of like this snowflake. I think that's going to be relatively legible with the gold against that is going to help with legibility. I don't like the watches with the gold dial and gold markers and everything because you don't get as much contrast. So white, I'm not a big fan of black dials on dress watches. So yeah, I kind of like the more or less white or silver dial, that sort of thing. Let's see, the date 36 millimeter and leather bracelet are very nice too. That's absolutely nice, but again, I've still got the same problem where if it stops, I've got to unscrew the crown, I've got to set the time, the date and the time, make sure it's in sync, and it's just a little more of a hassle, and it's kind of like a compromise watch. It's not really a full dress watch, it's not really a full sports watch, it's more of an all-arounder. A date, and how'd this get twisted? Huh. My way of thinking, a date is an all-arounder. And anytime you have an all-arounder watch, it's not going to be perfect at anything. It's going to be good for a lot of things, and a date is a fantastic all-around piece. It's probably the best all-around piece ever produced. Because if you think about it, there's really no other watch that can serve the role as a dress watch, a classy 18-karat yellow gold dress watch, and a heavy-use sport watch, and everything in between. It can serve all those roles. But it's still not the best dress watch. It's still not the best sport watch. It's a compromise watch, an all-arounder, but probably the best of that type. So, but I'm not looking for that because I don't need that, because I'm not looking for an all-arounder because I've already got an excellent sport watch. I've already got an excellent travel, multi-use watch. Now, really, I don't need anything, but what would make the whole rotation complete would be a very elegant, classy dress watch. Yeah. How about a Tudor stunner, Craig? Oh my God. A Tudor. Can you imagine somebody actually wearing a Tudor? Jeez. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine somebody showing up wearing a Tudor? Oh my goodness, what a thing. Yeah, that would be shocking. Um, oh wow. Bear in mind they might come out with new watches in the next few years, probably more stunning in your eyes, Tom Austin. Well, we'll see. Well, I want to wait till I see this. From what I've seen of Tim's video, let's play Tim's video again. I mean, this thing is pretty stunning. Let's play this.
5 millimeters in diameter on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and it's thin, 10.5 millimeters thick with a nicely sloped case flank. It will easily slide underneath a tight
my
dress
wrist is
sleeve
bigger
or
than
cuff.
his, so I
From
think it'll
lug
look
to
even
lug,
better on my
wonderfully
wrist.
traditional,
Look at the shape of those,
43.4 millimeters with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs.
I think
Though
it's
the watch
gorgeous.
is honoring a technology 20
I mean,
years
there's
old,
not much
the
I would change.
proportions,
I would
outright
probably have those
dimensions, and
lugs
specific
a little
styling
trimmer.
decisions seem to hark back to the golden age of men's dress watches
little
in the
more taper
40s,
to the
50s,
lugs.
and 60s.
But,
Now,
I
the
mean,
timepiece is
I'm just
handsomely
nitpicking
equipped
there. I think
with
it
a
looks
dark
pretty
brown,
damn
large
good.
rectangular scale alligator leather, Grand Seiko factory strap. It features a monotone stitch, dark brown, folded edge profile, and you can see on the underside calfskin. It is made in Japan, like almost every other feature of the watch, and it has a preternaturally buttery and worn-in feel. Though it is a brand new strap,
Sounds like the strap is going to be very comfortable.
soft, supple, as though it's already been worn and broken in. So it's some kind of an alchemy here that Grand Seiko achieves with those straps. But there's less mystery about the buckle, which is a solid yellow gold, 18 karat, and oddly Italian-made component. As I've noticed, Grand Seiko's gold clasps generally are made in Italy, and I would love...
One thing, he does not show it on his wrist with the clasp closed to see how much it sticks up because of that. Because, you know, it is a little bit thicker with the deployant clasp than the regular clasp, but it's a convenience factor, right? I think it's going to be trim enough. I think it's going to be flat enough to the wrist that it's going to be fine. My guess is. But again, I won't know until I try it. But that is a pretty stunning looking case design. I think more attractive than the Calatrava. I think the side of it, the shape and everything, the sides, I think give a little bit of a edge over the Calatrava. But they're both gorgeous. They're both gorgeous. Let's see here. I should not be too tough on poor Steve. He is on a lot of strain from you people. Really? I think Steve can take it. Steve's a big boy. He can take it. So folks that are tuning in late, I did get a call from the Stevester, and he is planning on having the 002 Stunner in stock the end of this month for me to take a look at. He says he has two coming in. One, he's going to put my name on it for first right of refusal, and we will see if I buy it. And as far as we know, there are no others in the country. This is it, and we'll see what happens. Funny how Tim recommends 44 millimeter divers on wrists as small as 13 centimeters sometimes. Yeah, I think the big watches on small wrists, I don't think it looks good. I just don't think that that's a way to go. So yeah. Let's see. Steve is great. The kind of guy I want to give my business to. Blue in the house. Yeah, absolutely. He's a good solid AD. Absolutely. Good guy. Knows how to throw a heck of a party. He can throw a heck of a party. All right, folks, let me know if there are any questions. Any questions whatsoever. Put them in the chat because we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. And I'll keep you all posted as I get more information later in the month. It's going to, time flies by, so it's going to be the end of the month here before we know it. It's just the beginning of the month now, but you guys know how time flies. It'll be here. There's the SBGY002 Stunner. I mean, that watch, I just cannot say enough about how much I enjoy wearing that watch every day. It is so comfortable on wrist with that titanium and the shape of the case and the flexibility of the bracelet because of the pin and collar system and because of the finishing on the bracelet. It just, the whole package makes it exceptionally comfortable on wrist. To where, I mean, it's even more comfortable on wrist than this one, and this one's only 38.5 mils and about 12 mils thick. Yet the 231, because of the titanium, is actually arguably more comfortable on wrist than this. They're both very, very comfortable on wrist, don't get me wrong. But this one doesn't have the 5-link bracelet, which adds a little bit to the comfort of that watch. The clasp, infinitely adjustable on the fly. It just really is nice. The people poo-poo it because of the clasp, but those of us that actually wear and use the watch, we know the truth, that the clasp is absolutely fantastic. So that has been a stunner. I'm going on 2 years, and I really don't have anything. I like to nitpick and pick things apart. I don't care if it's a pair of shoes. I don't care what it is. I'm very, very picky. Girlfriend, I don't care what it is. Very, very, very picky. And I just can't pick this one apart. It's just absolutely fantastic. Let's see. Is the GS Super Collector is the GS Super Collector that appeared in the show purchasing the other piece? Good question. I don't think it's sold. I think he's getting it in on spec. I think he wanted to get more. I think they said they'd only send him 2 at this point. It's not technically a limited production piece, but they're clearly not making very many of them because he's been trying to get one for a while now, and he's finally getting 2. So I think he just got what he could get, and he's going to have the other one. If he's assuming I'm going to buy the first one, he's put my name on it, and he's assuming he's going to sell it. Okay, so let's assume that does happen. Then he'll have one in the case for sale. I think that's his thought process. So unless somebody sees this broadcast and contacts him and says, "Hey, I want it," then he'll put their name on the second one. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he'd pre-sell it if somebody wants to lock it down, because these are not that easy to get. There is one on eBay, I think, for $23,500. I think there's one on eBay right now. It would ship from Japan, and and a subscriber saw a couple of them in Indonesia, but as far as we know, there are none in the United States for sale right now in a case. So there you go. Will you be doing a show or two this weekend, Tom, in the house? We'll see. We'll see how timing goes. It's possible. You never know. This time of the year I start getting a little busier, but you never know when I can pop on and do a show. Are the markers in the dial of that GS Stunner gold? Yes. As far as I know, everything that appears to be gold on that watch is gold. The markers and the hands. The second hand is like heat blued steel or titanium or something. It's not gold. But as far as I know, the hands and the markers on that particular watch are gold. So, but that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I just believe that to be the case, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Steve thinks you'll buy 2, Craig. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility too. If the lovely Brianna goes with me and she falls in love with it and twists my arm a little bit, maybe we will walk out of there with a 2-for-1 deal, right? Maybe he'll give us a good deal. What do you think? What do you think? You think Steve will give us a good deal if we buy 2? What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that move? Would that be a move or what? That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. See, that's why we do these live streams. You guys are giving me ideas, things I hadn't even thought of. Buy both of them. Corner the market on the 002s. What do you guys think about that? Wow, that's a move there. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to give you guys a few more seconds to come in with any other questions that you have, any other comments or whatever. And I put links in the description to the article where I borrowed the photo for the thumbnail from, so full credit. I put a link in the description, and put a link to littletreasury.com, and I also put a link to my page on my website where I talk about Grand Seiko and the watches that I've had experience with. I think that Steve will give you the same great deal anyway. I think that Steve will give you the same great deal anyway. So what you're saying is whether I buy both or just one, he's going to give me like the same deal on each unit. Is that what you're saying? In other words, if I say I'll buy both, he won't give me a better deal? If I buy two? I think he would. I think he'd give me a better deal if I buy both. I think the more you buy, I think the more you buy, maybe the better deal he'll give you. Now, some of these watches, folks, are getting harder to get. The supplies on some of the Grand Seikos, the 005 was kind of hard to get for a while. I don't know if he has one in stock right now or not. Some of these models, and it's not like Rolex, we have to wait years, literally, but I mean, some of the models are starting to get a little bit tighter and a little bit harder to get. The 002, like I said, has been hard to get for a while now. Not that there's a big demand for $25,000 yellow gold Grand Seiko stunners. I mean, obviously there's not a big demand, but still, it's not been a common item here in these United States of America. All right, I'm going to wrap this puppy up, but I wanted to get on here live and let you guys know first. See, that's the way I treat you guys. You guys, you know, before I shared this information with anybody else, I wanted to let you know that I did get a call from the Stevester this afternoon, literally an hour before showtime. And I did get that information. That he has been told that he will have two 002s by the end of the month. Now, will that get delayed? Will he not even get them at all? I mean, I'm sure in this watch world, anything is possible, right? But I'm just telling you what he told me. That's all I can do, is be transparent and share with you the information that I have on hand. And if something changes, I will go live and I will tell you. But as of now, that's the information that we have. Let's see. Tom says, I heard the 005 is going for a premium over the black one. I think the 005 was harder to get for a while than the 003, but the last broadcast Steve said was the 003 is gaining in popularity now to where it's not as big a gap. It was for a while, everybody wanted the 005. But now he says the gap is closing. There are also a good number of people that want the 003. So, yeah. So that's what he said on his broadcast recently. Blue, we are first to hear it. Thanks, Craig. There you go. Absolutely. Tom, if Craig can get two for the price of one, he might do it. Well, if I could get two for the price of one, absolutely I'd do it. I don't think I'm going to get quite that good a deal. That would be a really good deal. Yeah. So we shall see what we shall see. Exciting times ahead. That's, somebody said, this was Confucius or somebody said that the best we could wish for is to live in exciting times or interesting times or something. I don't know what the quote is, but you guys, somebody intelligent will put it in the chat. But I guarantee you, we do live now in interesting times for sure. I'll take one. Thanks, Craig. There you go. Tom in the house. All right, folks, so just keep in mind, the one thing we do know for sure, there's a lot of things in life that we don't know for sure, but one thing we know for sure, two things we know for sure, is our time is limited. We each get 24 hours in a day. All right, our time is limited, and Bitcoin is limited. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins produced, period, full stop. That's it. 21 million. And a bunch of them have already been lost. 3 to 5 million have been lost, irretrievably so, by people who were careless with their private keys. So we know that Bitcoin is a very, very limited, very, very scarce item. So we know two things are very limited, very scarce. Our time, 24 hours in a day, and Bitcoin, 21 million. There are people that would argue that real estate is also limited, because you only have so much real estate, right? Which is pretty much true. They made some real estate in the, over there in the Arab Emirates or wherever the heck that was, where they created those islands, right? But that's not that much, let's face it. And there's some new real estate created by volcanic islands, like in Hawaii and stuff. There's some new real estate created there from time to time, but a very small amount, relatively speaking. So fixed supply items, I guess you could say we have time as a fixed supply, Bitcoin, and real estate. It's pretty much those three things. Even gold, they're still bringing gold out of the ground all the time. They're mining more gold. So it's not really a strictly limited supply item, right? But we do know that Bitcoin is limited supply, real estate is limited supply as far as things you can actually own. And there aren't that many others that I can think of that are strictly limited supply. So there you go. SBGX231 is gorgeous Grand Seiko quartz. There we go. Two for the price of one, give away the other to your viewers. There you go. Blue in the house. SBGX321. SBGX321 versus 231. Okay. Curved sapphire glass, no date window. Okay. So SBGX321. Let's pull that up. Yeah, that's a very interesting, very plain looking, very interesting piece. I wonder if Steve has any of those in stock. Is that available in the US? That's an interesting looking piece. Very simple. Yeah, when I first went over and met Steve, and I wanted to look at the diver, I specifically wanted to look at that watch because I'd learned about it through Arizona Fine Time years before, and I'd always kind of been intrigued by it, but never had an AD near me. And then when I found out about Steve, I went over and saw it, and of course I left with it. I got there with cash in my pocket and left with a watch instead of the cash. That's how that works. But, he at the time, he said, well, you should really look at some of the 9F watches. And I was like, no, I'm not interested in any quartz. And, now the Spring Drive, it does have a quartz element to it, right? But it's not a full-blown typical quartz watch. And I really wasn't interested in a full-blown typical quartz watch. But then, after some time went by, I did a little more research and so on. And then I started getting intrigued by the 9F, and I started reading up even more on the 9F. And then when this one came out, this 005 Stunner, I said, I want to take a look at that. you know, that looks interesting. That's really a combination of a sport watch with the screw down crown and the GMT and the crown guards, but also thin and nice shape to the case. More of like an all-arounder type thing. And I was intrigued by it. And then I went and I looked at this. He set one aside, put my name on it, and you know, I went and I looked at it. And of course, same thing happened. I got there with cash and I left with a watch. So yeah, the 9F, I've really come around to where I really respect the 9F, and it's a hell of a, this is a hell of a piece. And like I say, the 18 karat gold stunner that I had was a hell of a piece, the 9F stunner. So I have a lot more respect now for anything with the 9F movement in it, I can tell you that. So on that note, we are going to wrap it up. Somebody put in another suggestion, SBGY002. Let's pull that up. Oh yeah, this is a Heritage Collection piece. This is a stunner. This is a spring drive, and yeah, that's a stunner. Absolutely. Let's pull up the information on it. So it's 41 mils by 13.8 thick. So it's close. It's a little bit thinner than my diver. And 41 mils, obviously my diver's a 44 mil. So, yeah, that depending on the size of your wrist and how tight your shirt cuffs are and stuff like that, that could be an all-arounder. That could be an absolute all-arounder. That's a good-looking piece. Absolutely. Again, you'd have to try it on, make sure it looks great on your wrist and all those good things. On that note, Fat Panda and everybody else, thank you for tuning in. On that note, we're going to wrap this puppy up. We're going to wrap it up. We've been going for almost an hour and a half. Almost an hour and a half. Thanks for watching, and we will be back sometime soon. Thanks again.